Hello and welcome to Bloomberg Quint. Shraddha, Bhavesh and I are here to wrap the markets up for you. And when it comes to the markets, well, it's been yet another very quiet day of trade. Starting with the Nifty, which has just seen a decline of just about 18 odd points. But we have hung on to the 8600 mark. And this is for the third consecutive session that the Nifty refuses to go below 8600 and above 8700. But that's not the only trend that's played out over the last three sessions. Do you have any more trends, Shraddha?
Yes, Agam, interesting trends. I'm going to talk about IT stocks. They continue to drag the Nifty lower. So while we have that IT index falling for the third straight day, so you have the IT index was down about 1.5% today, down about 1.5% yesterday. So broadly, we've lost a lot there. You have stocks like TCS, Tech Mahindra, Infosys, all of these which were under pressure.
Some of this has to do with Brexit?
Probably. There's finally some Brexit fears that we are seeing coming off again. But the interesting bit is this is only as far as it pertains to IT stocks, because stocks like Tata Steel, Tata Motors, which actually have a significant UK exposure, none of them are seeing that impact. These two stocks ended in the green. So basically, see Brexit fear coming on IT stocks. And one reason could have been that Infosys RBS deal fallout. That's probably creating some worries as far as revenue growth guidance is concerned for the IT company. So IT index, which was trading above fallen three straight sessions of losses. On the other hand, the Nifty Metal Index is seeing strength, three straight sessions of gains coming in there. So globally, commodity steel stocks seem to be rallying. You see the Nifty Metal Index that closed about 2% higher today, again up for the third straight session. So they are continuing to build on that strength. SAIL, Coal India, NMDC, Tata Steel, all of these were about 2 to 4% higher. They ended that much higher today. So that's probably a reason that despite having UK exposure, Tata Steel actually ended in the green, because steel stocks are gaining strength.
Referring to a report, do we know the reason why as to see why we're looking at this gain in stocks and metal?
Yeah, some reason we could have some sentimental impact on account of a Moody's report on steel, and we will have Bhavesh talk more about that. Bhavesh, any interesting facts in that report, or they're just reiterating as far as the weak steel demand is concerned?
Yes, Shraddha, a couple of interesting points actually. But before that, I would like to mention that Moody has come out with a detailed report on Indian steel, where it's sounding positive for Indian steel makers. Now, first it says that Indian steel demand will outpace the regional average, which everybody knows. Again, and also the GDP growth over the next 2 years. Again, nothing new in that. Apart from that, it adds that Tata Steel and JSW Steel will outperform the regional peers in terms of margins. Again, we all know that. But the interesting bit is that Moody's points out that China's steel exports is expected to grow slower in the coming 12 months. Okay. So which has been a problem for the steel companies not only in India but globally. So that is one positive. And right, towards the end, it expects that the steel exports from China will flatten out towards the end of 2017. So probably we can see an uptick in margins if that actually pans out. So that is it from the steel side. Any other important cues that you're seeing, Shraddha?
So one more sector where there was some traction was the auto sector. So it was Bajaj Auto which actually led the auto index higher. You had stocks like Hero MotoCorp, TVS Motors amongst the top gainers. So basically it's your two-wheelers, your whole domestic theme that seems to be playing out today because of lack of some global cues. But FNO trends, Agam, what are they saying?
Well, once again, because of the fact that we haven't seen any changes in the Nifty, and we've seen a lot of consolidation between that 8700 and 8600 mark, we continue to see the same distribution levels and the same patterns when it comes to options. So if we take a look at what's happened in the distribution, open interest distribution, once again, 8500 put and the 9000 call is the one which has the maximum open interest. But what's changing to a certain extent over the last 2 days is that we've also seen an increase in distribution when it comes to the 8700 strikes. And once again, that's played out when you consider the change in open interest today. Here you'll notice that we've seen a lot of longs building up in calls for 8700 and 8800 and 8600. So as you can see, within that narrow range of around 8600 and 8800 is where we're looking at a lot of concentration. Now, this only means one thing. For now, the markets are not certain as to where they want to go, and that's also that's also evident in the implied volatilities. As you can see, they continue to remain at very, very low levels, and in fact, the volatility index continues to remain at levels as low as in December. The last time we've seen these levels were in December 2015. So not much has changed, and well, one can argue that market participants for now are waiting for some triggers to come in, and that is when we will see significant amount of bets taking place. But for now, we're just looking at a lot of writing on the back of the consolidation that we're looking at in the markets right now.
Okay, so 8600 is the level where we are just floating around. I'll also highlight a couple of mid-cap stocks that I want to talk about. Of course, the action was much better in the broader market. So mid-cap, small caps landed up outperforming the Nifty and Sensex, your benchmark indices. So advanced decline ratio for the Nifty 500 index was on the positive side, 5:35 advances for every 3 declines. All your JP Group stocks, so JP Associates, JP Infratech, JP Power Ventures, all of these fell as much as 4 to 8%, and that is even as JP Associates clarified that the CBI team did visit their Noida office. Now, there were reports yesterday of a raid at their offices, and there's some clarification which came in, but today all these stocks were trading lower. Another interesting bit of news development was, of course, as far as the Treehouse Zlearn revised swap ratio announcement was concerned, so for the proposed merger. Now, just look at this. December 2015, they announced a ratio of 5.3:1. So merger ratio of 53 shares of Zlearn for every 10 shares of Treehouse Education. That merger ratio now becomes 1:1. So just 1 share of Zlearn for 1 share of the company. That's a big change. 5.3:1 to 1:1. Definitely, this should be something which was negative for Treehouse Education. But surprisingly, the stock rallied as much as 15-16%. In fact, just if I look at it, it rallied as much as 18% to 38 rupees. That was the most since July 1st. So should be negative for the stock, but probably Street took it positively, probably just because the merger did not fall off. That
Because
could have
at
been
one
taken
point
as a
in time,
positive.
I believe that the deal was considered dead by a lot of participants in the market. So that's probably the reason why we have seen a little bit of a run up, at least as far as those two counters go.
Correct. That is the only reason, because in terms of valuation, the ratio is not good as far as Treehouse Education is concerned. But it's been a tough, difficult year for Treehouse. The stock has fallen from 400 rupees a year back to just 36 rupees now. So I'm not sure how this is going to go. So I'm not sure how this is going to go from here. Another set of numbers that I want to talk about. Realty stocks, mid-cap realty stocks like Kolte Patil, DB Realty, Prestige Estates, your Phoenix Mills, Housechana Housing, all of these were seen correcting today. So high beta stocks were seen correcting. They were all on the losing end. Aditya Birla Nuvo rebounded a bit, ended about 0.5% on the positive side after losing 21% over Tuesday and Friday. I know, but it stopped falling. Probably, I mean, if you can call that some.
As long as the falls arrested, yeah.
Yeah. Interglobe Aviation, that was another stock, rose about 3.5%, even as Citi upgraded the stock to buy. That's again another stock which saw fantastic rally post its IPO, has fallen back to the IPO levels. But again, now you have Citi upgrading the stock to buy. So that was another stock which was on our focus. Hathway Cable rose about 6% after its board approved the IPO of its unit, but the stock cooled off a bit, ended with about 2% odd gains. Just Dial lost about 3% on the back of earnings. Now, it was the first ever Q-on-Q revenue declines along with a fall in the margins. So again, that stock was one of the hot stocks a few months back, very heavily investor interest stock, but that is entire, the story has cooled off. A lot of things did not work out for them. So, and now you have a weak quarter coming back again for that stock. Right. So that was down about 3%. A lot of stocks that I've spoken about. Anything on your radar?
So let's just address some of the big movers in the mid-cap index overall. I know that you have addressed a lot of them. So let's talk about TVS Motor and Amara Bajaj Batteries. This is, of course, once again playing on the discretionary, consumer discretionary given the fact that we have seen good monsoons coming in and playing out, and that's also the reason why we're looking at a lot of gains in not just these consumer discretionaries, but others as well. So Adani Power, Engineers India, and Canara Bank among the other gainers. We have seen some amount of respite when it comes to Wockhardt. It's not on this list, but it has ended the day in the green after losing out 15% in the previous 3 sessions. Tata Global is another interesting one which has seen some amount of profit booking today. Strides Shasun, this is where we're looking at declines on the back of earnings. Now, once again, Shraddha has already mentioned, we have seen the earnings which are only comparable quarter on quarter, though they have restated their earnings on a year-on-year basis as well. Voltas and Reliance Infrastructure, along with Ajanta Pharma, among the other stocks which have lost out to a certain in today's day of trade. But again, when it comes to the index itself, we haven't seen much movement. The mid-cap index, along with the big benchmarks, continues to consolidate around the 2052-week high, but there's still consolidation. So we haven't seen much movement when it comes to an index. Is there anything that we're looking forward towards in the next couple of days?
Nothing that I'm aware of, Agam. No major earnings again. A lot of your large cap earnings are yet to come. None of them have announced the earnings dates. Globally, we have FOMC meeting minutes out probably tonight, but we're not likely to see a lot of impact on account of that in all likelihood. So broadly, there are a lot of individual stocks and sectors which actually stood out today. That was really the key highlight of today. Right. That's as far as the market wrap for today is concerned. But yes, do continue to join us at 3:45 p.m. tomorrow also.